Thank you. And hello, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. In this setup, I would appreciate very much if from time to time you send some reactions in the chat or some emojis from Zoom. So I know that you didn't fall asleep and you still follow my presentation. So welcome to this webinar on the Communication Labs. I'm happy to be your guide today. I'm Yelena Polivoda. I'm the communication expert of the EU-funded project Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility. And let's get started and see where this journey will take us. So the agenda for today. First, we will look at what the Communication Labs initiative is. We would try to show you why you would want to participate in this initiative, how it will work, and we will also look at some important dates and phases to ensure that you do not miss out on anything. Then we will look at the application process and go through the application form that you will need to fill in. And after that, we will open the floor for your questions during the Q&A session. If you have any questions during my presentation, please, as Monica said, send them to the Q&A section. Okay, let's break down what Communication Lab Initiative is, how it works, and its process in very simple terms. So what are these communication labs? Well, think of them as a kind of a training ground for civil society organization. Our mission is quite simple. We are here to help you build the skills and knowledge you need to become a communication wizard. Our goal is to empower you to create and launch your very own communication campaigns with the financial support of the European Union. So we will, through the application process, we will select up to 20 civil society organizations, ideally 10 organizations from Armenia and 10 organizations from Georgia, who will participate in the communication labs with their communication campaign ideas. And the cherry on the top, up to 6 most outstanding campaign ideas will receive the EU funding to make them a reality, to develop them, to produce materials, and to launch the campaigns. So why? Why you should even consider being a part of this journey? Very simple. First, the communication labs are the excellent opportunity, the excellent capacity building opportunity, capacity building exercise for your organization. During these labs, you will get webinars, trainings, mentorships, hand-on guidance on all issues related to communication. We are talking about skills in audience analysis, targeting, messaging, storytelling, budgeting, media outreach, evaluation of your campaigns, etc. Again, as I said at the beginning, this is your chance to bring your communication campaigns into reality. Your campaign ideas, the best of the best, will get the EU funding. In average, we are talking here about 8,000 euro per campaign that will be selected for the implementation. So the next reason is networking. You will be part of a community with other civil society organizations, mentors, experts, and we hope that those connections are not just for the labs, they can be lifelong partnerships for your organization. And of course, you will be able to boost your visibility. Your campaigns will showcase your incredible work, reaching out not only to local audiences, but to international ones as well. So briefly, communication labs are your ticket to enhancing your skills, getting financial support, building powerful networks, and showing the world what your organization can do. Let's now look into how this process, how this work, how this action will be structured. First, mark your calendars for the application phase. You have until September 25th, next Monday, to apply. So you have, from now, you have almost a week, six days to apply. We will evaluate the proposals. And as I said, we will select 20 civil society organizations, 10 from Georgia, 10 from Armenia. It's not a solo mission. Each organization will need to create a team of up to 3 participants. Those 3 people who will be working directly on the development and hopefully launch of your communication campaigns. This could be the representatives of your organizations, members of your network, or even partner organizations. And then the first phase, the capacity building phase, starts in November this year with in-person kickoff events in Tbilisi and Yerevan in the period of from the 6th to 10th of November. It will be a chance to meet your colleagues, find mentors, and dive into some serious capacity building exercises. And do not worry, these events are real. They are not online. We want you to feel the energy. We want to meet all of you, and that's why we're organizing them offline. After the kickoff events, there will be time to work on your campaigns, to refine the concepts of your campaigns with your mentors. You will have webinars, consultations with mentors, dedicated experts to help you shape your campaign. We're talking about strategy, target audiences, budget, the whole process. And I will jump into the next slide to explain a bit more about the mentoring process, and then I will come back to the previous slide. So each team selected for the participation in the communication lab will have a dedicated mentor who will work with you along the process. Between November and mid-January 2024, the mentorship will be organized in several modules. These are like, like puzzle pieces that come together to create your masterpiece. So in each module, you will have a specific goal. Together with mentors, you will work along those modules which are presented on the slides. So you will start with defining or refining the concept of your proposed communication campaign, its objectives. Then you will identify together your target audience, craft key messages. You will create the campaign roadmaps, identify the tools, channels, products you will need to produce, prepare a budget, plan your media outreach, and set the indicators to evaluate the impact and effectiveness of your campaign. So by the end of this process, from November to mid-January, you will combine the deliverables from each module into your draft campaign strategies. And after this hard work, you will submit your finalized campaign documents to the selection committee, to us. And that's where the most promising campaign ideas, up to 3 campaign ideas per country, will move to the next stage. At the end of phase 1, we will also have another event, the final event in Yerevan, in Tbilisi, somewhere at the end of February, where we will announce these top scoring campaign ideas that will be supported with EU funds. Hope you're still with me. Yeah. So let's look at the phase 2. This is the phase for those who will be selected after the first phase. So for those winners. So it's about campaign production and launch. So here's how it will unfold. 6 organizations with 6 campaigns will advance to phase 2. Once you are in, you will formalize your participation with agreements with GDSI. GDSI, it's an Irish company which is implementing our EU-funded project. So you will sign the contract. You will, and this is where the process gets official. You will sign the contract. You will get funds for implementation of your campaigns to your organization's bank account. And then you will have around 2 months, plus minus, to develop your campaign materials. The European Union, through our project, will provide assistance, cover production costs, design costs, printing materials, social media advertising, everything which is included in your communication campaign plan. And then the big moment is when you launch your campaign. We won't stop there because after the launch, there will be some process to monitor and evaluate the campaigns, to assess how they are progressing, to see their effectiveness and impact. And that's briefly it. Now let's look at the timing. When will all this happen? This is the preliminary timeline for you to understand all steps of the communication labs. Have a look at it before you apply, before you fill in the application form, to make sure that you accommodate those activities, you can accommodate those activities into your organization's daily work. So have a look at this timeline before you start filling in the application form. Now, when we know almost everything about the process, let's look at how we will select the participants. First of all, I encourage you to check the guidelines for the applicants. This is the detailed document which has all steps and criteria for assessment and evaluation of applications, and all key information that you need to be aware of in this process. So very briefly, all applications will be assessed according to the following criteria. First, we will make the administrative check to check whether you submitted in time, whether your application is complete, whether you meet the eligibility criteria. Then we will assess the capacity and experience of the civil society organization, of your organization, and the lead applicant, the person who is submitting the application, the person who will be our main contact point in this work. Those will be evaluated based on the experience, capacity and commitment, and we will discuss it a bit later. These are just a brief information. And the next step of evaluation for us will be, we will be looking at your proposed campaign ideas, and we will assess them for relevance, social impact, and innovative approaches. If you look at the guidelines, you will see there is also an evaluation grid there. You can understand how many points each criteria has, and you can also assess your application based on this evaluation grid. So briefly, as I said, we will be looking a bit later at the application form and at the questions which are there in the application form. But just very briefly, let's discuss the eligibility criteria for these three groups that I mentioned: the lead applicant, the organization, and the proposed communication campaign. So the lead applicant, the driving force behind your campaign. I hope this is you, the person who will apply on behalf of organization, the person who will work with us, the person who will take the leading role in this whole process of communication labs. So to apply, you need to be a citizen of either Armenia or Georgia. In some exceptional cases, we also might consider applications from representatives of other EAP countries. EAP countries are Belarus, in addition to Armenia and Georgia. These are Belarus, Azerbaijan, Moldova, and Ukraine. I will give you example. For instance, if there is an Ukrainian or Belarusian activist who moved into Georgia, and this happens quite often now, and started working for the civil society organization in Georgia, this person though he or she is Ukrainian, for instance, can apply and can be a lead applicant. Then you need to be above over 18 years old. You must be a current member of or employee of the officially registered civil society organization from Armenia or Georgia. It's essential that you understand what your organization is doing, its mission, its goals, its activities. Good English is also one of the requirements to the lead applicant, as the English is the key language for the application process and for the communication with us. However, I want to stress here that this is the requirement only for the lead applicant. We do not require other team members to speak English. We do not require your communication materials to be produced in English. So while developing your communication campaign, you will be producing it in your language, in the language which is relevant and which is needed by your target audiences. If it's Georgian, it's Georgian. If it's Armenian, it's Armenian. In our case, why we need this lead applicant to speak English, because we need to have the application in English, because we need to assess it. We need to have proper communication with at least one person from your team. And otherwise, we plan that your mentors will be the local experts, and the majority of the mentoring session events that you will have in your country will be in your language. And one important thing for the lead applicant is that we expect that you will be committed to your communication idea, to the communication campaign idea, because you will not only lead the process, but will also guide your team, and you need to know what you understand, what you do, and to have passion in what you do. The next eligibility criteria, okay, not criteria, but the group of criteria is the eligibility of the applying organization. So let's look at what we require from the organization that you represent here. Your CSO, your civil society organization, should be officially registered and actively operating in Armenia or Georgia for a minimum of 2 years. Your organization should have a clear mandate and track record of working on issues related to social change, community engagement, advocacy within Armenia and Georgia, or Georgia. All your team members should be committed to actively be engaged in all phases of the communication labs. This includes participating in capacity building events, webinars, content development, and campaign implementation. Let's look at the eligibility of the campaign ideas. What makes a campaign idea eligible for the communication labs? This is where your creativity and dedication should shine. First and most important, it's up to you to propose the communication campaign idea that aligns with your organization's mandate and expertise and the needs of your communities. We welcome any ideas striving for positive change in Armenia or Georgia, whether it's promoting social inclusion, enhancing healthcare access, or advocating for the better policies. We are here to support you. You do not need to have your campaign idea fully developed at this stage. You can apply with an initial or draft idea. The labs are created specifically to help you refine and develop your concept through the program. So the main requirements are: your campaign idea should have a should address a social issue of relevance and importance for your country, for Armenia or Georgia. It should generate lasting effects beyond its immediate implementation. And we are also looking for innovation and creativity that make your campaign stand out. And we will be discussing this in a moment when we look at the application form Oh, there, I forgot. There is also, please check, this is just a friendly reminder of which campaign ideas are not eligible. Please have a look at the guidelines for applicants with the description of ineligible campaign ideas. And now I need a short break. And as we looked at some of the details of the communication labs and are about to move to the application form, I think it's time to make a short break and to check if you have any questions to the first part of the presentation at this point. So now it's your turn.
There are 3 questions that we have in the Q&A, Lena. So the first one is from Lado. Is it allowed to have a team of 2 people, or is it mandatory to have 3 members in the team?
Okay, we do have the requirement in the application guidelines to have the team of 3 people, but it's not the criteria for assessment. So if you have only 2 people, but you can explain us that this is enough for your campaign, that you understand what you are doing, and that you can do it with participation of only 2 people, it's okay. You can apply at this stage. You can apply. Moreover, just to add to this question and to this answer, you will see in the application form there is a section about your team, and that we require to provide information about your team members if you already identified them at this stage, if you know them. For us, it's good to see that you already have people who will be working on the campaign, but there is also a chance that during the before we start the capacity building exercise, you can find another member who can join, who would like to join this campaign or who would like to join your team. So yes, very briefly, you can apply with team members, with 2 team members.
And yeah, just to I think I'll underline this even more. Please do not let this stop you from applying. Do apply, and then we can also find solutions and discuss that.
You will also see that this is not the obligatory question in the application form. So you can even skip this question at this stage.
Yep. Another question from Lado. Is it allowed to have a cooperation with a partner organization and apply together?
Yes, it is. We actually encourage the partnership. The only thing that there should be, I don't think we even have the special section on the partnership in the application form, but what you do when you explain the when you give the details of the communication campaign idea and what you will be doing, please mention that you are applying in partnership with another organization. It's very good, and you will see that a bit later on the slide that we do encourage partnerships, and we do encourage to have in the team members from other organizations who are supporting the same cause.
There is also one question, and one of the last questions, like additional information persistent to this call. And this is where you can actually describe the partnership more details if you don't want to take the space from describing your main idea.
Lado, our organization is registered in December 2021. Can we still apply?
Yes, I will answer that. Lada, yes, we do encourage you to apply. Look, if you look, your organization was registered in December 2021. We start the capacity building activities at the end of November in December 2021, and you will use our communication labs again as a chance to gain more experience. So by the moment when we start selecting the campaign for funding, your organization will be fully eligible and will have more than 2 years of experience. So yes, do apply. Okay, I assume that's it, right?
This is it for now. I don't see anything else. Yeah.
Okay, let's then move to the next part of the of our webinar, and I would like you to have a look at the application form that you will need to submit. So first thing first, please do read the guidelines for the applicants. It's packed with essential information to help you navigate through this process. Then take a look at the PDF version of the application form that we prepared for you. The application form has a bit over it's exactly like 40 questions. The application form has 40 questions, some of which might require some significant input. So please check the PDF version of the application form before starting the online application process. Please remember to fill in the form in English. We want to understand your brilliant ideas clearly, and the English is the way to go for this. And one advice from my side, do not leave the submission of your application form until the last day. I know that most people do that, myself including, but please make sure you have enough time to submit your application. Deadline is Monday, September 25th, end of the day. So the application form has 5 sections. The first section will be about the lead applicant, about you as a representative of your organization. The second section will be about your organization. The third one is about your proposed communication campaign idea. The fourth one is about your team, and then there will be also some additional information and uploads. Let's quickly go through all of them, but before that, please make sure that your answers in the application form are brief and up to the point. Most of your answers should be limited to 250 words. Look at the example. This is the text with this is how the text with 250 words look like. And this is way over 250 words. Please also think about us, people who will read your applications. Think of us at this stage as your target audience. So please be brief, be clear, make sure we understand what is there. So let's look at this relevant section of the application form. The first part is about you, a representative of the organization applying for the labs. This person will be the main contact point for communication with us and will take a leadership role in the application process and the participation in the communication labs. It is essential, as I already said at the beginning, it is essential that the lead applicant can commit to all the labs activities. We are looking for someone who will be active from start to the finish of this process. So please have a look at the timeline and check whether you are available for all those activities. Do not forget that at the end of the application form, you will need to upload your CV. So make sure that you have it ready. So this part, this first section, it will have information, the contact information about you, your citizenship, your gender, etc. So this one is quite easy. So I will move to the next section. The next section is more complicated. It's about your organization applying for the communication labs. And this section will help us understand your organization better. We want to learn about your organization's mission, its activities, its experience. And this section will help us to understand whether your organization aligns with the goals of our communication labs and if you have the background for this work. What we will be looking at when we will be evaluating this section. First, we want to know what your organization stands for and what you aim to achieve. This helps us to see if your mission works with the goals of the communication labs. And Secondly, it will help us to understand your past and current activities, your previous experience, whether you have any experience in communication and advocacy campaigns. It will help us to see the capabilities of your organization. Let's look more carefully at some of the questions. Not all of the questions are here, of course. There are some simple ones like your organization address, date of registration, etc. I want you to look now at the questions which require more input. So we will, in the application form, we will ask you to provide some information about your organization recent activities in the past 3 years. So this will help us to understand what your organization has been up to lately. You should mention any important activities that your organization was doing in the last 3 years. This could be events you organized, projects you worked on, any positive changes you have made through your activities. If you have some numbers to show us, like how many people attended your events or how your project helped the communities, include this information in this question. Let's say, just give you, I mean, this is the easy one, but just to give you an example, if you're working on let's say environment, you can mention, and your communication campaign idea is about environment, you should mention here the events. If you organized any, I don't know, tree planting events, how many events you organized. If you educated school children about the environmental problems. So please add here all information which is relevant for the communication campaign you are going to propose in the next section. So the next question is about whether you had any similar communication or advocacy campaigns activities in the past. So here, tell us about the campaigns you have done before. If you have any results or success stories or any links to the materials you produced, please do share them with us in this question. The next question is about how do you think the communication labs would benefit your organization? We are interested in your organization specific goals and how you think our communication labs can help you reach those goals. Tell us about the challenges you have and how improving your communication skills through our communication labs will help you. The next question is about how the campaign you are proposing, campaign idea you are proposing, contributes to the overall goals of your organization. So this question helps us connect the dots between your organization's goals, activities, and the proposed communication campaign. We want to know if your campaign aligns with your bigger mission, with what you do. Describe the impact you expect it to have. Do you plan to raise awareness, drive policy change, or mobilize your community? Be clear about how this campaign fits into your long-term goals. Then let's explore section 3. This is the heart of your application. This is where you tell us about your idea, about the idea of the communication campaign you propose for this communication labs. This section will help us understand your initial campaign idea. I will say it again. You do not need to have the fully developed idea at this stage. The communication labs are here for you to work on your idea. So what you need to present is the initial brief information about the idea you have and how you see it at this current stage. So we will assess the communication campaign ideas along those criteria. Again, you can check the guidelines for applicants. You will see the evaluation grid there, and you will understand how your campaign idea will be evaluated. So we will assess how your campaign idea aligns with the goals of the communication labs and addresses the relevant social issues in Armenia or Georgia. We want your campaign to have a real impact, so we will be assessing how effectively your idea targets and addresses specific social or community needs in your country or in your community. We need to see how clearly you define the needs or problem your campaign aims to tackle. And I'm just giving you these criteria, and we will go through each of them in the next slides, where we will look at the specific questions relevant for those criteria. Then we also want your campaign to create some impact, some effect beyond the immediate launch. So we want to see if your campaign has the potential to generate long-lasting effects, like changes in the behavior of people to whom your campaign is targeted, or changes in the legislation, for instance. We also look for innovative and creative approaches in your campaign idea that can set your campaign apart and engage your target audiences more efficiently. However, here there is one important thing I would like to mention. Innovation doesn't mean that you need to create something artificial to apply for this communication lab. You do not need to create something, to invent something that does not fit your target audiences. For instance, if you work with elderly people somewhere in the rural, in the remote areas, you can find innovation in some very thoughtful, tailored approaches how to reach those people, and not to create something that you would do for the teenager. So think about when you think about innovation, think about your audience, what they need. Sometimes innovation is not just, drawing a big mural on the wall or creating an art installation. Innovation can be in other things as well. And with this, let's look at those specific questions related to your communication campaign ideas. The first question you will see there will be about the issues you want to address with your campaign and why those issues are important for your organization, for your community, and for your country. Please, you need to share the backstory of your campaign. Why did you choose this particular issue? How does it connect with your organization values, with your organization missions, activities? How does it connect with the community needs? Does your community really think problem here? Is this an issue you need to address? For instance, if you're applying with some environmental idea about reducing plastic waste, you can explain that you chose this issue because your community is suffering from plastic pollution, and this is something that lies within the mission of your organization to protect the environment. Describe how this plastic pollution harms wildlife or people living in your community, pollutes water sources, etc. And this will help us to understand that you understand what you are doing, you understand why you are doing, and we will know that this campaign is really crucial both for your organization and for your community. The next question about the objectives of your proposed campaign. So you will need to briefly outline what you want to achieve here. Do you want to raise awareness about the issue you described above? Do you want to change a law? Do you want to mobilize your community to deal with these polluted water sources, for instance? Or give the objectives, show us the specific objectives. What are you planning to achieve with your campaign? The next question, describe what you propose to do with your communication campaign. This is your to-do list. What you plan to do during your campaign. List all major activities here. For instance, okay, if you're working on promoting literacy among school children, your activities would include, you would organize some reading contest, reading workshops, you will be distributing books in schools, you will be reaching mothers of those kids who go to the kindergarten, etc. List all the activities that you think would be relevant for your campaign. Again, I would repeat it once again and again. This is your initial plan. When you start working with the mentor, with your colleagues, you might end up with something different. But at this stage, we really want to understand what you want to achieve, what is your idea, how you're going to achieve it, and what specifically you're going to do. The next question, who is the target audience for the proposed campaign and why it is important to engage them? Again, you will be working on the target audiences during the communication labs, but at this stage, this question will help us to understand whom you want to reach and why they are important for you. For instance, if your campaign is about, I don't know, promoting sustainable farming in your region, then mention that your target audience for this campaign would be specifically local farmers. Explain why they are important. They are crucial because they directly impact the environment. They directly impact the food supply chain, and they are directly affected by their campaign. If you want to change the legislation on any issue, you might need to target different group of people. You might need to target local authorities, government authorities, those who have power to bring change. So be clear about who you want to reach with your campaigns and why they matter in achieving your campaign goals. We are almost there. Next question. Communication channels you plan to utilize and communication products you would like to produce. Again, this will be redefined, further developed during the communication labs, but at this stage we want to see a clear strategy. Please do not use general words like I will be posting in Facebook, I will be using social media, or I will be producing posters. We're looking for some specifics, which platforms, tools, and materials you are going to use. If you're going to use Facebook, describe the products that you would like to produce for Facebook. If you're going to arrange community events in the cities, please mention what materials they will receive from you. So here, please be as detailed as possible again. The next question is, how do you ensure that your campaign can have a lasting impact? We want you to present to discuss here the broader social impact your campaign could have, contributing to the positive change in society and community involvement. So this question helps us see the bigger picture. We want to know if your campaign goes beyond short-term results and creates lasting change. For example, if your campaign is about youth unemployment, you might discuss how the training program you are planning for them can help those young people secure, stable employment in future, leading to economic growth in the community. That is the long-lasting impact we would like to see. Unique creative aspects of your campaign. That's what I already mentioned, that this is something that makes your campaign special. Think of something that raise awareness about your issue in a unique way, something that help you to make your campaign memorable. Budget of the campaign. Here we're also interested only in rough estimates because you will be developing the detailed budget during the communication labs. At this stage, we just want to see that your campaign can be financially feasible and that you have basic understanding of the costs. So provide an approximate overall budget which covers the major expenses for the campaign, like materials, events, outreach costs, etc. And that's basically it. There are two more sections, number 4 and 5. This section 4 is about your team for the communication labs. So we want to know if you have thought already about your team members, if you can identify at this stage. As I said before, answering to Lada's question, if you do not have all team members identified now, it's not a problem. But if you already have someone, please add information about this. This will help us, to understand who will be working together with you, their roles, their positions, etc. And there is also section 5 with additional information and uploads. This is where we want you to highlight any potential challenges of your campaign, and we want to see your ability to address those challenges. For instance, if you, I don't know, if you expect there is another COVID outbreak. Okay, no, it's too soon for this example. Let's take another example. You are working in the remote region and you might expect some problems with access to internet in those parts. Try to find the solutions how to deal with this problem. Will you involve community leaders to reach people? Will you find another way of communication with those people? So please try to think of all possible risks, also those which are beyond your control. This section also offers you an opportunities to showcase your organization commitment and capabilities. There is one question where you can put everything you want us to know about you, your organization, as Irina mentioned, your partnership. This is additional information that might help us to make a decision about your participation in the communication lab. And please do not forget to upload the CV of the lead applicant in English. It's the very end of the form. And once you upload your CV, your next step is to press the button submit. And that's basically it about the application, about the assessment, and about the communication labs. Let's check if we have any questions, any comments, any.
We do have questions in the Q&A, Lena, sure. Okay, so the first question goes about both questions from Nana. Nana, we'll take them one by one. If there is something unclear, please feel free to unmute your mic and specify if there is something we're missing. So, do advocacy campaigns take priority? Can the campaign also focus on private sector engagement? So basically, the question is there a priority list for when we select the ideas where advocacy campaigns are higher scored at the end, and is it okay to have a campaign on the private sector engagement? Yeah.
For this one, again, I would like if Nana, if you are willing to do that, if you could take the floor and tell us a bit more about what you have in mind with private sector engagement. So just to answer the first part of your question, no, advocacy campaigns do not necessarily take priority. As Lena was, I think, clearly stating, we want to see campaigns that make sense for your work. And because of that, we haven't predefined priorities, but we have of course, our own mandate, and we have our own beneficiaries who have to be civil society organizations and civil society representatives. I don't know, would you like to take the floor, Anna?
Yes, hi, thank you. I understood throughout the presentation that there's a wide range of campaigns that will be accepted. I just wanted to see if our target audience and target groups are primarily private sector, and we're trying to get them to do something, for example, or increase their capacity for something. Would that also fit within would that also align with the objectives of the campaign?
So of course, we have to see the application before being able to give you a definitive kind of answer. But what I can tell you is that if it is about getting them to be more socially responsible or more socially engaged, that's clearly eligible in my view. If it is about enhancing their capacities in one way or another as private sector actors, that's outside of our mandate normally. So it really depends, what you mean by increasing their capacity.
In like environmental field, for example, in one of the environmental directions, to do less environmental polluting and etc.
But it would be fundamentally a communication campaign still. So if it is a communication campaign to convince or to raise awareness about these issues in the private sector, that's fine. So I think, this wouldn't be a problem. But I don't know, Lena, maybe you would like to add some.
No, Monica, yes, you're absolutely right. And knowing what Nana's organization is doing, I see no big problems here, because I understand that you are specifically talking about the advocacy campaign to change the behavior of private players in the environmental field. So I think it should be eligible.
Great, thank you.
But again, send us, submit the application, and it's also, we might at some point organize some additional interviews if we see the potential in the campaign, but we have some doubts about the about the implementation mode or something else. We might also come back to the applicants with additional questions.
And just to add to that point, in general, we are not looking for rejecting applications easily without a good reason. So we want to do this together with you. We want to have really good communication campaigns at the end of this. So we're not going to be overly administrative about it, or of course we still need to keep to our guidelines, but you will see that we have the flexibility to either discuss some of the things during interviews, or if we see something in the application form that maybe you forgot to detail and so on, we will get back to you and ask some questions. So don't be afraid to apply, and of course don't be afraid to send us questions for clarifications if you still have some questions after today. I think there are two questions which are really I guess different sides of the same coin. One's also from Nana on the eligible costs, and specifically whether salaries and remuneration can be included. And then from Lado, what are the ineligible costs? I think I will let you take this one, Lena, because you know the guidelines even better than.
Yeah, the thing is that in the guidelines that we have now, we do not have the the explanation to the costs of the eligible or ineligible costs, because at some point after the phase 1, when the participants will be submitting their final campaigns for the assessment, that's where we will have the detailed guidelines, including the requirements to the budget. At this point, we do not have anything, but what at this point, what we have is that the campaign can include the cost for design, production of materials, the cost for advertising, boosting social media campaigns, etc., the cost for organizing events within the campaign, this type of costs. So there are no specific explanation in the guidelines at this stage, but there will be at a later stage. So again, we will be working on the budgets of your campaigns together. You will be working with the mentors, and we will be looking at those budgets from our point of views. And more instructions about the budgets will be available for the second phase, when you will need to submit your finalized campaigns for selection for funding.
Maybe just to add one thing on, I don't know whether this would help anyone or make things even more confusing. Hopefully it will be helpful. There is one thing to keep in mind from the contractual point of view with a project like ours. We are not able to give you grants. So the budget will not look, if you have some experience with EU-funded grants or donor-funded grants and so on. Because we are a technical assistance project, we have some limitations and we have some restrictions. And I think, well, we have some of our fellows, Eastern Partnership Civil Society fellows today with us, and they know in general what I'm talking about. But as Lena was saying, we will provide more detail on this at a later stage. Yeah, and with the issue of the salaries and remuneration, yeah, that's a particularly tricky one in some respects for us, but of course there are human rights costs that you will be able, human rights, oh my god, human resources costs that you will be able to cover from your budgets, because you need people to be able to help you with the campaigns.
Okay, I see there are no other questions. Also, just for you to know, please have a look. I will remind you, you will receive this presentation by email with all the necessary links. Please have a look at the guidelines. Please have a look at the PDF application form for your information. There is also, we publish some most frequent questions that received from participants. They are published on our website. And again, if during the application phase, you have some questions that were not addressed today, please feel free to reach us. Here is a mail on the slide.